The hospital room smelled like bleach and disappointment. I was 2 days out from emergency gallbladder surgery, still weak and aching, my body feeling heavy and fragile. My husband, Victor, walked in, not carrying flowers, but a stiff, official-looking manila envelope. He pulled up a chair close to my bed, his face perfectly arranged into a mask of false sympathy. He leaned in and whispered, his voice dangerously soft. "I'm sorry, Willow. I filed for divorce this morning. I already took out the money for the lawyer. You're too unstable, and honestly, you don't make enough to support yourself. I'm keeping the house and Zoe." The cold, hard words hit me like a splash of ice water. Divorce papers, served while I was hooked up to an 4. My heart started hammering against my ribs. I looked at the envelope, then at his face, a face that held not sadness, but a gleam of satisfied greed. He had planned this, using my most vulnerable moment to steal my life. What the hell just happened to her? My name is Willow Vance. I am 32 years old, and for 5 years, I let my husband, Victor, believe I was the timid, low-earning wife who made $45,000 a year as a freelance consultant. I was actually earning $130,000 remotely, and he had no idea he had just filed for divorce against a secret millionaire. The paperwork was already filled out, claiming the marriage was irretrievably broken due to my financial instability and emotional fragility. He had used my hospitalization as the perfect window to push through a quick, cheap, unfair settlement, assuming I was too weak to fight. I didn't cry. I felt the familiar burn of betrayal, but it quickly turned into a cold, strategic calculation. I looked at the papers, then back at Victor, who was enjoying his power trip. "Victor," I whispered, making my voice sound weak and defeated. "I'm too sick to read this right now. Can you please just leave it on the table?" He smirked, standing up. "Sure, sweetheart. The lawyer said I need your signature within 48 hours to finalize the asset split quickly. The house is mine, of course, and I'll get primary custody since you can't even hold down a real job." He walked out without kissing me goodbye. The moment the door clicked shut, I ripped the 4 out of my arm, wincing at the pain. I didn't need a nurse. I needed my phone. My pain was physical, but my rage was pure fuel. I had to secure the one thing that mattered, my daughter, Zoe, who was only 4 years old. My first call was not to a divorce lawyer, but to my financial advisor, Mr. Jenkins, overseas. "Victor filed for divorce while I was unconscious," I stated simply. "I need the transfer from the Penelope Trust immediately. Every major liquid asset." The Penelope Trust was my secret account, holding my real income and investments, money Victor had never known about. My second call was to my best friend, Layla, a sharp investigative paralegal. "Victor thinks I'm poor and weak. He thinks he's getting the house. Layla, I need you to find the Tatum trail. I know he's cheating. Find the pregnancy." Layla called me back that night. She sounded furious. "Willow, I found her. Her name is Tatum. She's 5 months pregnant. And guess what? Victor wired $8,000 this morning to fly her from overseas to stay in a furnished apartment near the city." My stomach churned. That $8,000 wasn't Victor's. It was money I had put into our shared savings account, believing it was for family emergencies. He had waited for me to be unconscious, then emptied our savings to fly his pregnant mistress home. The proof of the affair and the financial recklessness made my legal case against him ironclad. I left the hospital the next day, signing myself out against medical advice. I went straight to Layla's office, not home. I looked pale, but my mind was laser-focused. Layla had secured photos of Victor picking up Tatum at the airport, showing them holding hands, proof of the emotional affair and public display of affection. I needed to act fast before he sold the house. I instructed Layla, "I want a quiet, anonymous legal entity created right now. We are going to buy the house, using the cash from the Penelope Trust. Victor will never know the buyer is me. Victor listed the house 2 days later, priced for a quick sale because he needed the cash to fund his new life with Tatum. He was arrogant and stupidly transparent. I used my shell company to make an immediate, cash-only, full-price offer. Victor snatched it up instantly, believing he had found a fast, easy sucker. I became the owner of my own house, and Victor became my tenant, and he didn't know it. The closing was set for 3 weeks later. I was now his secret landlord. Victor called me, sounding smug. "Willow, the house sold. I got a great price. You need to pack your things. You and Zoe have until the 15th to move out." He was excited about his easy win. I kept my voice weak and tearful. "Oh, Victor, that's so fast. I don't know where I'll go. Can I please have some time?" I let him gaslight me into believing I was homeless. He loved the control. "No, Willow. I need the money to start my new life. You need to be ready." The more he believed I was defeated, the harder the fall would be. My lawyer, Mr. Finch, one of the sharpest divorce attorneys in the city, served Victor with a formal custody suit, backed by the evidence of the affair and the use of family funds for Tatum. The grounds were moral unfitness and financial recklessness. Victor was furious. He called me screaming, "You promised you wouldn't fight me. You don't have the money for this." I let him rant, then delivered a single, calculated phrase. "Victor, the funds you took from our savings account to fly Tatum home? I can prove that money was designated for Zoe's college fund. And I have the bank records to show it." He paused, breathing heavily. "That's a lie. You don't have money for a college fund." He was still stuck on the $45,000 salary lie. "We'll see in court," I said coldly, hanging up. The discovery phase of the custody battle began. Victor's lawyer, a cheap family friend, demanded full financial disclosure, expecting to see my low $45,000 income. This was the moment of strategic brilliance. I revealed my actual, current, and ongoing $130,000 annual income to the court, after the divorce and initial property division was finalized. My lawyer argued that my income was irrelevant to the initial divorce filing, which was based on Victor's false claims. The court was stunned. Victor's lawyer immediately protested, calling it fraud. Mr. Finch calmly explained, "My client committed no fraud. She simply did not volunteer confidential contract information to her husband, who was financially abusive." Victor's divorce claims, that he needed the house in custody because Willow was unstable and low income, were based on his own willful ignorance and misrepresentation to the court. Victor's face in the courtroom turned a sickly green. His entire legal strategy was now built on a foundation of sand. Victor was forced to provide his own full financial disclosure. It was worse than he thought. He had taken out a risky loan against the house, believing he would profit immensely from the sale. Now, he was selling the house to my shell corporation just to cover that debt and pay for Tatum's expenses. He had nothing left. His plan to steal the house and my money had bankrupted him before the judge even spoke. The final closing date arrived. Victor was standing in the empty house, waiting for the buyer's representative. I walked in, wearing a sharp white suit, carrying the official closing documents. Victor looked at me, bewildered. "Willow, what are you doing here? Where is the buyer?" I held up the deed and the wire transfer confirmation. "I am the buyer, Victor," I said simply. "The Penelope Group purchased the house from you. I paid off your risky loan and the realtor fees. I am now your landlord." His jaw dropped. He actually swayed on his feet, holding onto the doorframe. You can't be. That's impossible. You don't have that kind of money." I just smiled a cold, triumphant smile. "I made 3 times what you thought, Victor. I always have. Every dollar you spent on Tatum, every dollar you spent on your lawyer, every dollar you took from our savings, it all came from the wife you thought was too poor to fight back." The realization that his entire betrayal was built on a lie I had maintained to expose his true character, was pure poetic justice. Victor was forced to pay rent to me for the next month before the eviction process began, because he was now living on my property. Tatum, meanwhile, was getting frantic. She thought she was marrying a man who owned a house and had money. She found out Victor had lost everything. I got a text from Layla. Tatum is demanding Victor sell his expensive car. She doesn't like being homeless and broke. The toxicity of their relationship was eating itself alive. The final custody hearing arrived. Victor walked in with Tatum, trying to look like a stable family unit, despite the obvious tension between them. Mr. Finch presented the evidence: Victor's perjury regarding my income, his financial recklessness with Zoe's college fund, the ongoing affair, and the immediate marriage to his pregnant mistress. The judge was visibly disgusted. The judge ruled full primary physical and legal custody to Willow. Victor was granted minimal, supervised visitation. Then came the ultimate reversal. The judge used my actual $130,000 income to calculate his child support payments. Victor, the man who divorced me because I was supposedly poor, was now legally obligated to pay me massive child support checks. Victor jumped up, yelling, "That's unfair. She's rich. Why do I have to pay her?" The judge slammed the gavel down. "You committed perjury regarding your wife's income, Mr. Vance. You misrepresented assets and filed for divorce under fraudulent claims. You will pay the full amount." Victor's face crumpled in complete, final defeat. He was ruined, not by me, but by his own monstrous greed. The post-divorce situation was pure chaos for Victor. He lost the house and the car, which he had to sell to cover his debts and initial child support payment. Tatum, realizing she was married to a bankrupt father paying massive child support, filed for annulment just 3 weeks after their rushed wedding. She wanted out of the financial disaster he had become. I moved back into my house, the house I legally owned. The first thing I did was rip out the cheap curtains Victor had installed and replace the locks, every single one. I hired an interior designer and began renovating, turning the house from a place of betrayal into a home of safety and triumph for Zoe and me. Victor called one last time. He left a rambling, pathetic voicemail, begging for forgiveness and money. "Willow, please. I'm living in a terrible apartment. I need help." I listened to the message, felt a moment of cold closure, and immediately deleted it. I did not respond. I had nothing left to say to the man who tried to destroy me when I was vulnerable. I took Zoe on the trip we had always dreamed of, using the money Victor thought was his easy win. Zoe, happy and safe, was the ultimate sign of my success. I bought her a beautiful small locket, a symbol that her future was secure and untouchable. I was a thriving, single mother, financially untouchable, and emotionally free. I looked out the window of my beautiful, renovated home. Victor had lost his house, his wife, his mistress, and his control, all because he was too arrogant to believe his wife could be smarter and richer than him. I never heard from him or Tatum again. My victory was complete, ethical, and undeniable. I didn't just walk away. I walked away owning the house, the money, and the undisputed control of my own life. If you've made it this far, you understand. Respect is non-negotiable. My worth wasn't defined by the fake salary I showed him or the divorce papers he served me. My story proves that silence can be a powerful weapon, and patience is the most expensive power you can have. I used his own greedy lies to take back the house and secure my daughter's future forever. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who's been made to feel small. Tell them, your quiet planning doesn't make you weak. Your boundaries don't make you difficult. Your survival makes you extraordinary. Hit that subscribe button for more stories about finding your true worth and turning deep humiliation into triumph. Your worth was never in question. It was just waiting to be remembered. Have you ever had to prove your worth to a family that underestimated you? Share your story in the comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe.